Hello, my name is Sara Freund. I am graduating from Waller Catholic High School, and in the fall I will be attending the University of Dallas. And on my college campus, I plan to further the pro-life mission by taking an active role in my school's pro-life club, which will help me get involved with local activities to further the pro-life message. And then I also hope to go on the March for Life or organize a group to go on the March for Life at least once during my 4 years in college. We need to fight against social injustice. We need to be a voice for the voiceless. Fight back against the oppression. These and similar phrases are commonly uttered by many of my classmates in regard to any social justice issue. In particular, one of my classmates immediately jumps into a long-winded discussion when an issue is brought up, citing statistics and reasonings as a means of communicating his passion. He cares very deeply about the victims of social injustice and attempts to convey his passion by being a voice for the voiceless. Others involved in the conversation, however, become annoyed or disinterested after several minutes of his rambling. While this classmate has good intentions and genuinely tries to create awareness, his efforts to be a voice for the oppressed often fall flat. Being passionate about working against injustice in our society is certainly not a bad thing, but there is a difference between being a voice for the voiceless and giving a voice to the voiceless. In our society, to have a voice is to have power, and the louder the voice, the more powerful the speaker. So too often I think that being a voice for the voiceless leads us to speak only to be heard, rather than to speak in the true pursuit of justice. Being a voice implies that I am superior to the oppressed for whom I am speaking. So being a voice for the voiceless, while at its core is good intentioned, is actually a very arrogant way to approach injustices. On the other hand, giving a voice to the voiceless allows the oppressed to speak for themselves and reinforces the idea that all voices, all lives, are equally worthy. Our voices are important, especially for social justice issues, but they are not always needed. In the fight against oppression, it is much more vital to stop, listen, and learn before we let our passion or anger take control of our vocal cords. In an act of humility, sometimes we have to put our best intentions aside and commit ourselves to listen and learn before we speak. But how can we give a voice to those who literally have no physical voice? What can we do but speak for them and be their voice? In truth, no victim of injustice is truly voiceless. As Indian author Arundhati Roy said, there are only the deliberately silenced or the preferably unheard. Not only do we see evidence of this in cases of abortion, where women are told that their unborn children are not yet human and are only blobs of tissue, but also in cases of euthanasia and assisted suicide, where the mantra "death with dignity" desensitizes society to the real issue. Unborn babies do have a voice through their very being. The mere presence of a child in the womb is a cry of life, a call of innocence and hope. Women and men who have painfully experienced abortions have voices. And the elderly or ill who are suffering have voices too. For decades, the unborn and the elderly have been deliberately silenced to a point where many people today are dangerously uneducated about euthanasia and abortion issues. Giving a voice to the voiceless is an opportunity to further pro-life education beyond the basic facts and statistics. Yes, it's impactful to know that roughly 1 million abortions are performed each year, and that a baby's heart begins to beat 21 weeks after conception. But these figures usually do not immediately change people's hearts and minds about abortion. But when organizations such as Dubuque County Right to Life give a voice to unborn babies through their Life Is campaign, or their display of the stages of fetal development, or their support of the March for Life, it gets people's attention. When the world is shown the existence of a child at the moment of conception and exposed to the horrors of the abortion industry, the pro-life movement begins to change hearts and save lives. When women who are considering or have experienced abortion are given the opportunity to share their story, and when men whose voices are so often silenced by pro-abortion advocates like Planned Parenthood are offered help through organizations such as Silent No More, that is when people start to sit up and listen. When activists highlight the immorality of assisted suicide and euthanasia, when the elderly and ill are seen as joys rather than burdens, and when more emphasis is placed on celebrating life rather than ending it, lives are transformed. Sometimes it seems daunting to be part of this movement that is so countercultural. There are times when I feel that I'm not doing quite enough to give a voice to the oppressed, or I am unsure of how to be pro-life in certain situations. In these moments of doubt, I return to the main reasons of why I am pro-life. Firstly, as a Catholic, I believe that the protection of life is a fundamental part of my witness to faith, and I believe without a doubt that life begins at conception and should end in natural death. Secondly, I have seen the sorrow that friends and family experience at the loss of life, which only deepens my conviction that human life is inherently precious. Thirdly, the pro-life movement has saved the lives of some of my best friends. 2 of my close friends' mothers chose life for them despite difficult situations, leading to their adoption from South Korea. Every day, I am reminded that the small actions and decisions of a few can impact the world in massive ways. This is why it is imperative that the pro-life movement gives a voice to the voiceless. This is why I have a Life Is bumper sticker on my car. This is why I marched for life 2 years ago. This is why I continue to be involved in the pro-life movement, because I have seen friends and classmates change their hearts about abortion and euthanasia. I have lived through the successful passage of pro-life legislation like the heartbeat bills. I have experienced the powerful stories of women who have the courage to choose life, and I have grown significantly in my own understanding of what it means to be truly pro-life. I've learned that my call in this movement is to do what I can where I am. This is not a submission or an excuse to do less than what I am called to do, but a realistic approach to problems that are bigger than one person. I am not called to be a voice for the voiceless, but to give a voice to the voiceless. As a high school student, I actively volunteer at events such as the Life Chain and Life Dinner, and give the voiceless a voice through my daily actions and beliefs. Next year, I plan to become more involved in the pro-life movement on campus at the University of Dallas by joining the Crusaders for Life, and I hope to attend the March for Life again. Although I am but one person, I still am one person, and I strongly believe that my actions have an effect on those around me. As J.R.R. Tolkien said, even the smallest person can change the course of the future. Thank you.